transactions to ensure transparency and accountability at the local level. Rationalizing public investment programs. Speaker, honorable members, the government is reviewing, reprogramming, and reprioritizing the public investment program to minimize cost overruns and the accumulation of arrears. To this end, government is undertaking the following actions. Conduct a capital expenditure analysis to review expenditure in the roads, energy, and water sectors that dominate the domestic capital budget. This analysis is being done in two phases. The first phase assesses the efficiency of government spending on these sectors and identifies opportunities for prioritization and rationalization of these projects. The second phase will address the business processes and regulatory framework for public investment management. The development will, second, develop a forward-looking public investment program by extending capital baseline cost profiling to 15 MDAs, covering 85% of the domestic capital budget, to improve the budget prioritization and enhance budget scalability. Third, we will develop a public investment management information system, a digital platform that will provide real-time data for decision-making and will prioritize the completion of long-delayed government-funded projects at the local level to ensure they are delivered and taken off the books to allow for new intervention. To underpin these reforms, government has put a hold on new projects except where absolutely necessary and funding is available. In this regard, government has identified existing projects that could be accommodated by the capital budget envelope for 2026 and 2027. The projects that could not be accommodated by these envelopes will be delayed. So, Speaker, honorable members, government will intensify monitoring and evaluation of all projects and programs and policies. For this, government would like to reiterate that no subsequent disbursements will be made to MDAs and local councils without a monitoring report by the National Monitoring and Evaluation Agency. Rationalizing energy subsidies. So, Speaker, honorable members, subsidies to the energy sector continue to pose significant fiscal challenges. To address this, government remains committed to strengthening the financial and operational sustainability of the Electricity Distribution and Supply Agency, including, as EDSA, including through decisive measures to collect revenues and reduce technical and commercial losses. In 2026, government will implement the following measures. One, will establish a single collection account managed by an independent fiduciary agent and introduce key performance indicators for EDSA. Introduce private sector privatization in the management and operation of EDSA. We'll introduce system losses. We'll reduce system losses by continuing to upgrade the distribution and transmission network and installation of prepaid and smart meters. 4, we'll enhance revenue mobilization through customer expansion, recovery of arrears, especially from public institutions, and adoption of digital billing systems. And 5, we will leverage on the revised Energy and Water Regulatory Commission Act of 2025 to introduce cost-reflective tariffs while protecting the poor and vulnerable households. Consolidating macroeconomic stability. Speaker, honorable members, as reported in the earlier part of my statement, government has made significant progress in stabilizing this economy. To preserve this gain, government will continue to implement appropriate monetary policy, exchange rates, and debt management policies to improve the business environment and enhance the purchasing power of households. Monetary policy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Bank of Sierra Leone remains committed to achieving and maintaining price and financial stability, system stability, and supporting the general economic policies of government. In 2026, monetary policy will be carefully calibrated to ensure consistency between monetary operations and the policy objectives. To achieve this, the Bank of Sierra Leone has developed a new monetary policy strategy, which will be rolled out in 2026. The strategy revises and recalibrates the bank's operational tools to enhance its capacity to achieve reserve money targets. It will be executed within the framework of a revised open market operation structure, incorporating new policy instruments such as the central bank bills and 7-day reverse purchase agreement repos to improve liquidity management and policy transmission. The bank will also deepen the development of the money market while strengthening coordination with fiscal authorities to support overall macroeconomic stability. The central bank will also enhance engagement and transparency through regular press briefings, stakeholder dialogues, monetary policy statements, and policy reports. These actions are intended to improve the public's understanding of monetary policy decisions and strengthen the credibility of the Bank of Sierra Leone's policy stance. Government will recapitalize the Bank of Sierra Leone to support the effective implementation of the revised policy. In 2026, the Central Bank will also continue formulating frameworks, guidelines, and policies focused on macro-prudential supervision and assessing climate-related risk of the banking system. In this regard, Bank of Sierra Leone will operationalize the Bank Resolution Framework and finalize the Crisis Management Plan by the end of 2026. The bank will also issue requirements to commercial banks to collect and report on loan exposures and collateral data by climate-vulnerable geographical locations. Exchange rate policy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Bank of Sierra Leone continues to implement a flexible exchange rate regime, which allows the exchange rate of the Leone to international currencies to be determined by market forces. This flexibility facilitates rapid adjustments of the economy to external shocks. Going forward, the Bank of Sierra Leone is committed to strengthening the foreign exchange market development. In particular, the bank will simplify the rules of the foreign exchange interbank market, identify market makers, and conduct regular foreign exchange auctions as and when market conditions permit. In 2026, the exchange rate is expected to remain relatively stable, supported by expected increase in foreign exchange inflows from growth in the real sector activities and expected disbursement by development partners. Furthermore, government intends to establish exclusivity in the buying, selling, assaying, and exporting of gold from artisanal and small-scale mining is expected to boost the external reserve and thus help to stabilize the exchange rate. This will be buttressed by the commencement of direct purchase of gold by the Bank of Sierra Leone. Public debt management. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the present value of total debt to GDP and exports, as well as the debt service to export ratios, are favorable within the debt sustainability thresholds. However, debt service relative to domestic revenues is above the threshold, posing risk to debt sustainability. To address this, government will continue to implement the updated medium-term debt strategy, which aims to, 1, address the rollover and refinancing risk inherent in the debt portfolio due to a large share of short-term treasury bills, will increase the average time to maturity of domestic debt and reduce interest costs. Furthermore, government will implement the following measures. We will intensify our revenue mobilization efforts and rationalize our expenditure within budget limits. We'll issue more medium-term to long-term bonds, whether in local or foreign currency, through competitive auctions. We'll avoid the issuance of foreign exchange swaps or any foreign exchange denominated security except in exceptional circumstances when terms are highly favorable as determined in agreement, which entities may seek no objection from the IMF. We'll continue to refrain from accepting T-bills or T-bonds at rates that are inconsistent with a sustainable debt position while remaining in accordance with the Bank of Sierra Leone Act of 2019. We will review the primary dealership role with support from the ADB and other development partners. We will set up market communication by establishing an active investor relations desk, publishing a quarterly calendar for meetings with banks, and conducting market surveys on the appetite of treasury bonds. We'll implement regular norms for institutional investors to invest in government securities while ensuring that they can meet their asset liability management objective. We'll seek grants and contract only highly concessional loans, and will update our medium-term debt strategy and debt sustainability analysis annually to assess the debt portfolio risk. Sectoral policies. D. Improving food security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, food security situation in the country is improving, reflecting stability in the macro conditions coupled with increased food production. According to the FAO, the number of people estimated to be acutely food insecure decreased by 400,000 between 2024 and the 2025 lean season. Rice self-sufficiency improved to 72% in 2024 from 67.5% in 2023. This marked a significant improvement driven by bold and transformative initiatives implemented under the Feed Salon program. Speaker, honorable members, Sierra Leone launched its first ever weather index insurance in April 2025, benefiting 1,200 farmers across the country. The crop insurance scheme aims to better protect farmers against climate risk. The scheme is a collaboration among Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Activa International Insurance, the Sierra Leone Insurance Commission, United Nations Capital Development Fund, with funding of $12 million from the European Union, United Nations Development Programme, and Islamic Development Bank. Speaker, honorable members, other key achievements recorded in 2025 under the Feed Salon program include the following. 1, procured and distributed 13 Sakata rice mills, which will significantly reduce post-harvest losses and enhance local rice processing. We supplied 30 new high-performing seed varieties with over 2,000 metric tons of certified seed and established state-of-the-art seed laboratory in Mile 91 to guarantee quality assurance, sustainability in seed development and enhance agricultural productivity. 3, more than 10 agribusiness gained access to low-interest financing from the $10 million agricultural credit facility of the Bank of Sierra Leone. We completed a digital national soil study and carried out biometric registration of over 300,000 farmers, creating a modern, transparent, and accurate farming system. And we completed the construction of 3 rural bridges in Manoa, Yandema, Mafujong, and connecting farmers to market, reducing post-harvest losses and strengthening the rural livelihood. Speaker, honorable members, this achievement collectively demonstrates our unwavering commitment to building a climate-resilient, technology-driven, and market-oriented agricultural sector to ensure food security, create jobs, and foster inclusive growth. To consolidate these gains, government will pursue the following strategic interventions in 2026. 1, we mechanically plowed 35,000 hectares of land for rice cultivation. Of this, 30,000 hectares will be in riverine areas and borders, and 5,000 in inland valley swamps. We raised 3.4 million cocoa seedlings to establish 3,000 hectares of new cocoa farms, supporting our export diversification agenda. We support the establishment of a national agricultural bank, development bank, designed to provide tailored financial services for farmers and agricultural entrepreneurs, especially with help from the OPEC Fund. We'll develop 100 hectares of land under the Climate Smart Integrated Land Management System to improve cultivation methods and ensure that we have year-round production of agricultural products. Building human capital, basic, senior, secondary education. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as a demonstration of our commitment to improving access to quality education, government has expended over $1.2 billion equivalent in the past 7 years in the education sector. This resulted in improved pass rates for MPSC, BEC exams averaging 79.2% and 93.3% respectively over the last 3 years. In 2025, government completed the training of 14,000 teachers in foundational learning on literacy and numeracy, recruited an additional 2,000 school quality assurance management and resource officers to monitor learning observations in schools, recruited 1,500 teachers using the same new development protocol that seeks to address equity in the distribution of teachers, and we electrified 201 schools to enhance digital literacy. In addition, over 800,000 primary school children are benefiting from the school feeding program. Going forward, government will continue with efforts to build a strong human capital foundation for our children and youths. In 2026, government will continue its support to the free quality education program by paying for the following: school fees subsidies to pupils in both primary and junior secondary school, fees for public exams comprising MPSC, BEC, and WAS, teaching and learning materials to 10,827 public and community schools, school feeding program for pupils in government and government-assisted primary and secondary school, diets for government boarding home schools. The Speaker, honorable members, government will also undertake the following programs in 2026. We'll electrify 500 schools, 2 mini-grids solar power, and provide internet connectivity for digital literacy. We'll provide provide furniture for additional schools to eliminate the double shifting system by targeting 100 schools to benefit 12,000 higher education. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, strengthening our tertiary education system is crucial to empowering our youth with world-class creative and innovative skills. In 2025, key achievements included the following. We operationalized the Kono University of Science and Technology with enrollment of 374 students for the 2024-2025 academic year in fields such as ICT, agricultural science, mining, engineering and technology, computer science and environmental sciences. We constructed Government Technical Institute in Matrujang. We completed rehabilitation and expansion of Government Technical Institute in Kailang, Kono, Kalakabala, and each fitted with 80 kVA generators, dormitories for persons with disabilities, and modern workshops and wash facilities. And 421 students benefited from the student loan schemes. In 2026, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government will support the free quality education by implementing harmonized curriculum, teaching practice policy, and national science, technology, and innovation policy for teacher education. And we will implement the dual apprenticeship policy, which integrates both on-the-job training and theoretical education at TVET institutions with certification to support labor market demands. F. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the combined government and development partner investment in the health sector have led to significant improvement in our health indicators. The maternal mortality ratio has decreased from 443 to 354 or 1,000 live births between 2020 and 2025. This is below the sub-Saharan Africa average of 555 deaths per 1,000 live births. The goal is to further reduce this by 2030. The infant mortality rate declined from 70 to 56 deaths per 1,000 live births. Life expectancy improved in this country from 54 to 62 years. Yes. Surpassing, so they live long now, sir. Government has completed the installation of solar power services to 97% of tertiary government hospitals. Nearly all government hospitals have solar power services. 300 peripheral healthcare units across the country. We have commissioned 120-bed state-of-the-art maternal center of excellence in Kono. And we expanded the mobile clinic bus services to underserved and remote areas nationwide, ensuring access to essential health services. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government will prioritize strategic investments and reform to ensure inclusive quality health care for all citizens. In 2026, government will develop a health compact to support delivery of primary health care services to enhance access and affordability. We will continue to support the Free Healthcare Initiative to improve access to basic health care under five pregnant women and lactating mothers. And let's come and program this. We will continue to support it. We will prioritize intervention. We will prioritize interventions to address public health emergencies, including the fight against kush and other drugs. We will prioritize interventions to address public health emergency, including the fight against kush and other drugs. We will strengthen mental health services by enhancing capacity for prevention and treatment. We support the expansion of dialysis program and scale up services in all districts. We will strengthen the NEMS services, which is the National Medical Emergency Services, by enhancing ambulance and emergency response systems for better patient outcome, and complete the construction of the National Pharma Warehouse to enhance logistics and supply chain management for better healthcare delivery in the country. Social protection. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government recognizes that sustainable development must be inclusive, leave no one behind, and especially our vulnerable and marginalized communities. The achievements in 2025 include the following. We provided cash transfer to 11,600 registered old persons aged 75 and older. And we provided business coaching and one-off grants to 5,911 female in extremely poor households nationwide receiving minimum $250. We provided emergency cash assistance to 35,000 households through e-mobile money, receiving 2,666 million each. We constructed 7 water conservation and harvesting infrastructure on 1,500 hectares of cultivated land in Mwamba, Botlokwa, and Jonkolini. And we established an Islamic microfinance fund managed by Apex Bank in 4 districts to enhance financial inclusion. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government will through NACSA undertake the following key social interventions in 2026. We'll do direct cash transfer to additional 20,000 extreme poor households nationwide. We'll create 3,000 jobs opportunity for young people through project interventions in areas such as agricultural crops, livestock farming, value addition, and various agribusiness options. We'll ensure that over 120 kilometers of feeder road linking to farmers to markets will be completed, and we will complete construction of the 10-ton palm oil mill in Bond District, creating jobs opportunity for at least 1,500 people. We'll sustain construction, rehabilitation, and reconstruction of 22 community infrastructures, such as markets, schools, community centers, grain stores, facility, health clinic, boreholes, feeder roads, through the community-driven development project and the Rapid Community Development Initiative, RACODI and CDBP. Tackling infrastructure bottlenecks. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there is an urgent need to tackle the infrastructure challenges necessary for accelerating our economy's progress. Prioritizing strategic investments in energy systems, road, transport, water, and digital technology will facilitate the delivery of essential services, enhance market access, linkages, and lower costs for businesses, attract investment, and create new opportunities for innovation and employment. Energy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is resolved to improving access to affordable and reliable electricity for households, institutions, and businesses across the country. Speaker, honorable members, after an extensive administrative review of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, the MCC Compact portfolio by the United States government this year, the Sierra Leone Power Compact was one of 12 globally and 5 only in Africa from a group of 25 countries that were formally approved to proceed to implementation. This decision reflects confidence in the ability of the BO-led government to deliver results and align with policies of our establishments. The implementation of the compact, the implementation body of the compact, the Millennium Challenge Authority, has been set up and recruitment of staff is ongoing. So, Speaker, honorable members, furthermore, Sierra Leone's Mission 300 Energy Compact was endorsed in September 2025. This initiative, which is led by World Bank and African Development and several foundations, is a strategic partnership approach to tackle energy poverty in Africa. Sierra Leone Compact lays out an ambitious roadmap to increase access to electricity to 78% and clean cooking to 25% by scaling availability of renewable energy, renewable sources of energy by 2030. To achieve this, Sierra Leone requires investment of up to $2.2 billion over the next 5 years for development partners and private sector. This compact serves as the main strategic document of the sector to undertake, under which all energy sector programs and projects will be aligned to deliver the energy services and transition in Sierra Leone. In 2025, other key achievements in the sector include the following. We completed the rehabilitation of the Kintop Power Station, while rehabilitation of the Black Hole Road Power Station is near completion with a combined generation capacity of 25 megawatts. We have restored electricity in Bulb, Pujang, Kailaon, and Moyamba as part of the 7 district rural electrification project. They have been in that for over 40 years. Increase the share of renewable energy in the energy mix by completing 25 megawatt solar plants at Makot. We commissioned a 1 megawatt solar mini grid in Moyamba. We installed over 400 standalone solar systems in schools and hospitals. The healthcare facility and construction is in progress with 30 megawatts and a 10 megawatt solar plant respectively in Newton and in Lunge. To build on these gains, Speaker, honorable members, government will in 2026 implement the following. We will commence the implementation of the Mission 3 compacts by installing a 40 megawatt solar power plant in Kamakwe in line with the government share of renewable energy. 40 megawatt solar power plant will be installed in Kamakwe. We will complete the restoration of electricity in Gambia, Yabala, Matruja as part of the 7 district rural electrification. We will accelerate the rehabilitation of the transmission and distribution network, especially in the western rural districts. We will expand access to underserved community, and we will extend electricity supply to agroecological zones in Mambolo, Kicham, Bondapi, Tomabom, rice fields to support the feed salon program, and we will continue to work on the time-bound strategy to reduce the energy sector dependence on expensive fossil fuel generation by increasing the share of least-cost renewable energy sources and negotiating more favorable terms in prospective agreements with independent power providers. Roads. So, Speaker, honorable members, in recent years, government expenditure on road account for a significant portion of our domestic capital budget. In 2025, government undertook a critical review of the spending on roads to improve on the effectiveness of expenditure in the sector. This led to the slowdown in the implementation of several road projects. So, Speaker, honorable members, in 2026, government will invest to complete ongoing priority roads in the public investment program to facilitate the movement of people, goods, inter-district connectivity, and regional integration. In this context, government will continue the following. 1, we'll construct trunk and feeder roads, especially those leading to markets and agriculturally productive areas, to reduce travel time and costs. We'll continue the construction of bridges and replace non-motorized ferries along the riverine areas to promote trade and service delivery. We'll continue rehabilitation of urban and township streets to give a facelift to our cities and towns within available fiscal space. We undertake periodic routine maintenance of core roads and networks, and we will conduct road condition inventory on the national road network and implement the axle road, tolling, and road reserve policies. Water. So, Speaker, honorable members, we will continue to invest in projects to expand water infrastructure and modernize the distribution network across the country. In 2025, key achievements include the following. Government secured a $40 million grant on the World Bank under the Sierra Leone Water Security and Wash Access Improvement Project. This project aims to improve the operations of water utilities and upgrade water infrastructure, targeting the western area initially and later expand to the rest of the country. Achieved 90% completion rate in the implementation of ongoing 6-town water supply projects in Gambia, Kailaon, Matrujong, Moyamba, Kabala, and Pujang. And we will complete the design of 4 towns water supply projects funded by India Exim Bank, Jalai, Matrujong, Daru, and Mongo. Government will undertake the following interventions in water. We will improve the financial sustainability of Salwako and Guma through appropriate tariff structures, smart metering, and prudent financial management. We will upgrade and expand the water distribution infrastructure through maintenance and replacement of damaged infrastructure. Salwako will support to expand the coverage of its network in all operational areas to ensure regular water supply, and will improve access to clean, reliable, and affordable water to rural communities, including through solar-powered boreholes. We will undertake feasibility studies and detailed design of the water supply systems in Port Harcourt City, Kwendu, Penyampo, Shagwema, and Konobo. We will develop a long-term plan for the construction of dams. Communication technology and innovation. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to facilitate the deployment of digital solutions to improve public services delivery and support private sector development, government has developed its digital national data governance strategy. In 2025, government accomplished the following. We expanded broadband connectivity to 120 MBAs. We signed up the ECOWAS free roaming agreement with Liberia, Gambia, Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire to reduce roaming costs and deepen economic and digital integration. And we engaged over 10,000 young people across the country through activities such as meetups, innovative boot camps, digital skills training, and innovation workshops. In 2026, to continue these efforts, government will develop an artificial intelligence strategy, digital service and infrastructure standards, increase nationwide broadband internet penetration to assist 60% of the country, while implementing and enforcing measures that strengthen the resilience and security of our national digital infrastructure. We'll establish 16 digital learning hubs across all districts, providing training and certification for at least 2,500 young people in emerging technologies to enhance their digital capacity, including AI and blockchain. Supporting job creation. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, creating sustainable jobs for Sierra Leone, and particularly our youth, remains at the core of government development priority. The 2026 budget will support the private sector as an engine of growth and job creation, and this requires coordinated approach to encompassing business reforms to improve the investment climate targeted to support small and medium enterprises, expansion of access to affordable financing, and equipping young people with skills and opportunities needed to participate meaningfully in the economy. It also involves direct youth employment interventions across productive sectors. On the business reforms, Speaker, honorable members, government through National Investment Board and the Ministry of Trade and Industry will continue to implement the National Investment Strategy 2020 to 2025 to 2030 and deepen reforms to improve the business environment. The NIB is reviewing and consolidating existing business registration laws with the objective of simplifying the procedure, reducing administrative bottleneck, and modernizing the regulatory framework for investors. To further ease the cost of doing business, NIB is establishing an investment facilitation, one-stop shop, and business solution center to accelerate the delivery of government and business development services. The Speaker, honorable members, I am pleased to report that business registration is now completed within 24 hours. If you want to open business, it is within 24 hours. This efficiency is to further enhance. Will be further enhanced by the introduction of the online business registration system. The NIB is at an advanced stage of delivering this solution through public-private partnership arrangement, and the system is expected to be fully operational by early 2026. Building on these reforms, in 2026, government will, through NIB, implement the following. We will review and align the NIB Act 2022 with the regional framework under ECOWAS and the African Continental Free Trade Area to expand market access and strengthen investors' confidence. And we will promote public-private dialogue to build investors' confidence and expand opportunities for investment and employment across key productive sectors. Small, medium enterprise development. So, Speaker, honorable members, SMEs remain the backbone for inclusive growth and job creation. To strengthen SME in ecosystem in Sierra Leone and empower entrepreneurs, especially women and youth, and to expand growth-oriented policies, government through SMEDA will undertake the following intervention. Implement entrepreneurial development and market linkage programs targeting mostly women-led SME across the country, but also conduct a value chain development training for SME in agricultural fisheries, light manufacturing to strengthen linkage among producer, processors, and marketers to promote value addition and job creation, and establish the SME Investment and Innovation Fund to expand access to credit and market opportunities for formalized enterprises. Access to finance. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, access to affordable finance continues to be a major challenge for SMEs. And taking this into consideration, government is working with development partners to expand financial literacy, strengthen credit readiness, and deepen the reach of financial institutions. According to the World Bank Global Findex report, the share of the population with bank accounts has increased from 29% in 2021 to 39% in 2024, indicating improvement in our financial inclusion efforts. the automation of the Credit Reference Bureau, and the establishment of the Collateral Registry by the Bank of Sierra Leone has improved access to credit. Building on this reform, government will implement the following in 2026. We'll enhance financial literacy and business advisory, support to entrepreneurs, to strengthen record keeping, budgeting, and credit management. We'll link small businesses to microfinance institutions and partner banks to enhance access, to increase access to finance, especially for women and young and youth-led enterprises. We will leverage blended finance frameworks, or partnership arrangements under the National Investment Strategy to support productive sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, and digital innovation. We promote digital financial services and mobile money, thus improving financial access to rural and semi-urban communities. Youth employment programs. The Speaker, government recognizes that the active participation of young people in the country is vital for achieving inclusive growth and social stability. Through NACOM and with the support of UNDP, government provided market-driven training to 250 female youths in non-traditional skills, including machine operations, automobile repairs, welding, fabrication at the Armed Forces Training and Education College, and a similar training was also provided for additional 100 youths by Sierra Tropical. Other major accomplishments in the youth sector comprise procurement of 50 e-vehicles for the youth in commercial transportation and the delivery of skills development for the youth in animal husbandry, crop production in both Kenema, Bombali, and Gambia. The Speaker, honorable members, government will implement the following in 2026 in the youth sector. We'll scale up aquaculture and basic fish farming across the country to promote youth-led agriculture. We'll support 50 youth groups in agribusiness with land input and credit facilities and mobilize 100 groups for urban farming and other agri-based employment. We promote youth innovation and entrepreneurship through national competition and incubation initiatives. And we'll establish a national platform, for youth employment. Improving public administration. Mr. Speaker, the optimal delivery of public goods and services in any economy depends greatly on the efficiency, professionalism, and inclusiveness of public services. Mr. Speaker, honorable member, government achieved the following in 2025. Approved the new Civil Service Code regulation and rules. Conducted a comprehensive institutional assessment of key public institutions and completed a management functional review for the transformation of the Civil Service Training College. In 2026, government will pursue the following. To conduct a nationwide awareness campaign on the development and rollout of the Public Service Act and Regulation, and will conduct and coordinate the implementation of the National Human Resource Hub to facilitate the migration of all public service functions from paper-based to digital, and also establish a clear framework for joint implementation of cross-sectoral policies and programs to enhance coordination and reduce duplication of functions and policy efficiency across the government. Addressing climate change. Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
Mr. Minister, rest a little. Mr. Minister, sit down. Rest.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
Mr. Minister, please sit down. Rest. Sit down, don't worry. Honorable members, at this stage, I recognize the presence of the following dignitaries that we have here this morning, beginning with Mr. Jimmy Batilo Songa.
a team of protection. Mr. Speaker, I did not see anyone at the school clapping.
I recognize the presence of Dr. Dennis Sandi, Mr. Siri Grant, Minister of Energy, Madam Geneva Bangura, Commissioner General, NRA, Madam Ramatulai Wuri, Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Honorable Mimma Yinma Sobastivic, Mr. Mohammed Rahman Swari, Minister of Employment, Ambassador Tamba Lamina, Minister of Local Government, Mr. Matthew Dingy, FS, Madam Kenya Bale, Minister of Planning and Development. I also recognize the presence of Dr. Ibrahim Stevens, Governor Bank of Sierra Leone. I recognize the presence of Madam Janet Jabati, Deputy Minister of Finance too. I recognize the presence of Mr. Abdulaziz, the Auditor General. I recognize the presence of Mr. Cabinet Kalong, Chairman NRA, and former Minister of Transport and Aviation. I recognize the presence of Mr. Samuel Ibi Momo, Principal Deputy Financial Secretary, Madam Gloria Carroll. I recognize the presence of Mr. Prince E.O. Cole, Cabinet Secretary. I recognize the presence of Mr. Mohammed Masakoi, DG NCRA. Madam Mr. Joseph J. Senesi, DG SLCS. I recognize the presence of Dr. Herbert H. Harvey, Deputy MP, Salwako. I recognize the presence of Mr. Alfred Koba, Deputy Director General, DPRA. Madam Josephine Fatima Kamara, Director General, Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I recognize the presence of Mr. Fodiba Dabo, Director General, Local Content Agency. Yes, Mr. Minister, proceed. We'll come to orders later.
Addressing climate change. The growing risk of climate change continues to threaten our communities and ecosystems. This reality demands a coordinated and sustained national response. To this end, government will advance the following key initiatives in 2026. We'll enact critical environmental legislations, including the National Climate Change Bill, the National Plastic and Plastic Waste Management Bill, the Revised Forestry Act 1998, and the Wildlife and Conservation Act amended in 2022. We developed a comprehensive national strategy on reforestation and afforestation that will promote large-scale tree planting and ecosystem restoration across the country. We strengthen environmental monitoring and inspection system by improving the identification of high-risk areas, developing robust data collection and management systems. These efforts will support early warning mechanisms and informed policy decisions and timely responses to environmental emergencies and disasters. We'll implement through the Environmental Protection Agency the third nationally determined contribution, NDC 3.0, and the sixth National Biodiversity Strategy Action Plan, NBSAP 6.0. We'll adopt a legal and operational framework that establishes a climate-sensitive public asset registry that covers at least 5 critical assets in each of the sectors: road, energy, water, and public buildings, as well as vulnerability assessment of these assets to climate change and climate-related natural disasters. We'll prepare and publish the vulnerability map and integrate climate risk data into land use and infrastructure planning, and adopt a legal framework for land use planning and civil construction design, a requirement to take the identified climate vulnerability into account in land use planning and civil construction designs. The fiscal year 2026 budget. Domestic revenues and grants. Speaker, honorable members, the declining official development flows and the financing gap to implement our national development plan requires government to focus on mobilizing domestic revenue. On the basis of the tax policies and administrative measures outlined earlier in this statement, combined with the expected increase in economic activities, total domestic revenue is projected to increase to 22.2 billion, that is 11.8% of GDP in 2026, from the estimated 17.9 billion unions, which is 10.8% of GDP in 2025. Income tax will amount to 8.3 billion leons, goods and services tax 3.9 billion leons, customs and excise duties 5.5 billion leons, mineral revenues 1.3 billion, fisheries royalties 142 million, parastatal dividend 405 million, revenues collected by other government departments 452 million, and treasury single account agencies 1.6 billion. Road user charges and vehicle licenses will amount to 671 million euros. Total grants to be disbursed by development partners are projected at 3.8 billion, which is 2% of GDP. And of this, external budget support are expected from the World Bank, EU, and African Development Bank will amount to 1.8 billion. Budget grants are projected at 2 billion. Total revenue and grants will therefore amount to 25. Total revenue and grants together will therefore amount to 25.9 billion, which is 13.8% of GDP. B. Expenditure priorities and budget allocation for 2026. Speaker, honorable members, total expenditure and net lending for 2026 is projected at 30 billion millions, which is 16% of GDP. Of this amount, current expenditure are projected at 21.7 billion, which is 11% of GDP, and capital expenditures and net lending 8.4 billion, which is 4.5% of GDP. Capital expenditure funded by foreign loans and grants will amount to 4.5 billion. Domestically funded capital expenditure will amount to 2.7 billion, and capital transfers for the recapitalization of the Bank of Sierra Leone will amount to 1.2 billion. The Speaker, honorable members, the composition and allocation of expenditure for the year 2026 reflects our priorities as defined in the Medium-Term National Development Plan. Wages and salaries. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the government wage bill is projected at 7.9 billion leons, which is 4.2% of GDP in 2026, compared to the estimate of 7.2 billion euros in 2025. This increase in the nominal wage bill provides for the following policies. 1. Recruitment of additional 2,500 teachers and a reassessment and promotion of 2,000 teachers effective September 2026. 2. Implementation of the recruitment of 3,000 health workers approved in 2025 effective July 2026. 3. Recruitment of additional 700 civil servants effective July 2026. 4. Salary increase of 20% awarded to civil servants effective September 2026. Recruitment of additional 400 staff by tertiary educational institutions effective September 2026 as follows. Universities, 2,250, colleges, 50, technical and vocational institutions, 100 staff. Budget also provides for promotion in tertiary educational institutions and harmonization of salaries for the top management of universities. That includes vice chancellors and principals, deputy vice chancellors, registrar, and finance director. The harmonization will be implemented effective April 2026. Provision is made for payroll changes in key governance institutions such as Anti-Corruption Commission, Human Rights Commission, Audit Service Sierra Leone, Parliamentary Service Commission, and Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, and the recruitment of 22 core staff of local council, stores and inventory staff effective July 2026. Debt service payment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, total debt service are projected at 8.6 billion euros, 4.6% of GDP. Of this, interest payment will amount to 6.7 billion, 3.6% of GDP, and principal repayment on external debt, 1.9 billion, interest payment on domestic debt will amount to 6.4 billion, and on foreign debt, 275 million euros. Non-interest recurrent and capital expenditure. Promoting food security, agriculture and food security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating 290 million euros from the domestic capital budget to the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to support investment in the agro-ecological zones and provision of agricultural inputs for rice and poultry feed production under the Feed Salon program. Government is also allocating 95.3 million from the recurrent budget to support various programs implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. In addition, 12 million is allocated to various allied agencies under the supervision of the ministry. Transfer to local councils for devolved functions and agriculture will amount to 41 million. The sum of 122.9 million represents the wage bill of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and its allied agencies. Multilateral development partners, including the World Bank, AFDB, ISDB, Islamic Development Bank, Badia, IFAD, will disburse the sum of 1.4 billion to support the implementation of various projects in the agricultural sector, and government is allocating 102 million as counterpart contribution to the various implementation of donor-funded projects. Fisheries and marine resources. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the sum of 29.2 million is allocated from the recurrent budget to the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, including 5.4 million for devolved functions in the sector. An amount of 13 million is allocated from the domestic capital budget to support various projects in the sector. The Chinese government will disburse 170.4 million for the construction of the fish harbour, and government is allocating 49 million as counterpart funding to the project. The sum of 11.2 million is represents the wage bill of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Human Capital Development, Education, Basic Education and Senior Education. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating an amount of 1.3 billion from the recurrent budget to the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Of this, the school feeding program is allocated 1.1 billion. School fee subsidies for junior secondary schools, 70 million. Diet for boarding schools, 30 million. Exam fees for WSSC, 39 million. Procurement and distribution of sanitary pads for school-going children, 12 million. The allocation also includes the sum of 6.1 million to pre-primary and primary education, of which 22.7 million is grants to schools for physically challenged persons. Transfer to local council for devolved functions and secondary education services will amount to 165 million to cover payments of exam fees for MPSC and BEC, fees for subsidies, as well as school fee subsidies, as well as procurement and distribution of teaching and learning materials for primary schools. Government is also allocating 20 million from the domestic capital budget to the basic and senior secondary education for the various projects, including the rehabilitation of government secondary school for girls, Mathura, and the government secondary school, Jimmy Babu. Multilateral partners, including World Bank, ISDB, will disburse 180 million to support various projects, including digital connectivity in schools projects and education sector projects. Government is providing 12 million as counterpart contribution, counterpart fund to education sector projects. Higher education, technical higher education. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the sum of 152.9 million is allocated from the recurring budget to the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. Of this amount, 120 million is grant to tertiary education institution, 6.8 million to the Tertiary Education Commission. In addition, 9.5 million is allocated to student loan scheme. Government is also allocating 14.5 million from the domestic capital budget for the construction and equipping of National Archives and Records Center and the rehabilitation of the teaching training for colleges in Puja. Multilateral partners, including Badia Saudi Fund, OPEC Fund, EBID, will disburse 202 million to support the implementation of education sector support projects covering rehabilitation of Multimaga Technical University, Prince of Wales School, Government Secondary School, BO, and the Government Secondary School for Boys, Maburuka. The amount also includes support for the construction of Kono University. Government is also allocating 17 million as counterpart contribution to this project. The wage bill for the education sector is 1.9 billion, of which 1.3 billion covers the salary of teachers and 513 million for staff of tertiary educational institutions. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating 1.4 billion to the health sector, accounting for 8% of total primary expenditures. Of this amount, Ministry of Education is allocated 132 million from the recurring budget to support primary and secondary health care, reproductive and child health care services. The amount will also support the operations of tertiary hospitals and ambulance services. In addition, 64 million is allocated to the National Medical Supplies Agency, of which 42 million is for the procurement of free health care drugs. The sum of 20 million is allocated to the National Public Health Agency, of which 10 million is for the response to the cruise and narcotic emergencies. Transfer to local council for devolved health services will amount to 42 million, and from the domestic capital budget, government is allocating 34.6 million to the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health for the construction of the Cancer and Diagnosis Center, as well as the rehabilitation and expansion of 5 district hospitals in Kailang, Moyamba, Matujong, Palaba, and Kambia. The World Bank, Creative Fund, Badia, ISDB, and Global Fund will disburse 470 million to support various projects in the health sector, including maternal neonatal, child strengthening projects, supporting 3 tertiary hospitals, and construction of the farmer-grade warehouse and ancillary structures. Government will provide 18 million as counterpart contribution to project funded by multilateral partners in the health sector. Bilateral partners, including CDC US, partners in health, will disburse 20 million to support various projects in the health sector. The wage bill for the health sector will amount to 1 billion, including the salaries of healthcare workers. Social sector protection. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is committing expanding social protection services to mitigate the impacts of shocks on poor and vulnerable. To this end, government is allocating the sum of 22 million from the recurring budget to support social protection activities implemented by various agencies. This includes 16 million on social protection programs under the Ministry of Social Welfare, of which 6 million is to support operations of drug rehabilitation centers. An amount of 1.6 million is also allocated to social protection programs under the Ministry of Employment, Labour and Social Security for the provision of cash transfers to the aged. The National Commission for Social Action and the National Social Protection Authority will receive 4 million and 1 million respectively. Government is allocated the sum of 49.2 million from the domestic capital budget to NACSA for the implementation of CDDP and RACODI projects. In addition, the sum of 5 million is allocated to the Ministry of Social Welfare for the establishment of a rehabilitation center for drug addicts. ISDB and World Bank will disburse the sum of 118 million to NACSA for the implementation of CDDP and productive social safety net and youth employment programs. The KfW Germany will also disburse 64.7 million to NACSA for the implementation of pro-poor growth for peace and consolidation projects. The EU will disburse 45 million to the Ministry of Gender and Children Affairs towards the Spotlight Initiative for the to fight violence against all women and girls in Sierra Leone. Government is providing 27.5 million as counterpart contribution to project funded by the World Bank and ISDB. Infrastructure and technology, roads and bridges. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating to the Sierra Leone Roads Authority 792 million from the domestic capital budget for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of roads. The amount provided will cover the reconstruction of Kabala, Faraba, Limbaya Junction, Guinea Border Road. We'll do the Bambajuma, Jambonda B Road. We'll do the Cambia, Madina, Kukuna, Konta, Guinea Road. We'll have the Moyamba, Sembian, Shinge Road. We construct the Mano Junction, Tongo, Kangama, Pumpe Road. And we will rehabilitate the Subuya Junction, Ramaya, Kukuna Road. And rehabilitate the Jojoma, Joema bridges. The amount will also cover the rehabilitation of city and township roads in Bo, in Kenema, in Moyamba, in Fujao, Matrujongbon, Tim Gambia, and Makeni and Western urban area and rural. Key streets and roads targeted in the western area include Macaulay Street, High Broad Street at Moriton, Leicester Road, South Ridge Road at Hill Station, as well as Township Road in Waterloo, Hastings, Joy, and Tombo. Multilateral development partners, including African Development Bank, Badia, ISDB, will disburse 544 million into finance construction of several roads, including the Tinkoko, Kwetema, Matrujong Road, the Cambia, Tompari, Kamakoye Road. In addition, World Bank will disburse 150 million under the Sierra Leone Connectivity and Agriculture and Market Infrastructure Project to finance the construction of additional 3 rural bridges in Moselolo, Kumrabai, and Sumbuya. Government is providing 42.3 million as counterpart funding to road funded by BADI and ISDB, as well as completion of the Toke, Longley Road, and construction of the Sepadu Kaimando, Kamieto. The European Union will disburse 102 million for the construction of the Mabang Moyamba Road. Government is also providing 2.3 million as counterpart contribution to this road. The amount of 50 million represents the wage bill for the Ministry of Works and Public Assets and the Sierra Leone Roads Authority. Energy. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is providing from the domestic capital budget an amount of 60 million towards the completion of energy projects, including 7 district rural electrification projects. Multinational development partners, including Indian Exim Bank, World Bank, AFDB, and EU, will disburse 354 million for the construction of 225 kV line from Yeben, Bumbuna to Newton, Freetown, and installation of 40 megawatt solar power under the Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project, which is a respite. The EU and MCC will disburse 61 million to support the implementation of energy projects. Government will provide 13 million as counterpart contribution to the project funded by multilateral and bilateral agencies on bilateral partners in the energy sector. In addition, from the recurring budget, government is providing 480.4 million as subsidies to ETSA for the payment of outstanding invoices to the independent power providers, including Car Power Ship, CI Energy, and Transco CNSG. An amount of 10 million is provided as wage bill for the Ministry of Energy. Water system. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is providing.
Mr. Minister, please. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to call your attention to the time. And I move that SO5 to be suspended for the business of the House to continue. Thank you.
Let me second that.
And it's also second, Mr. Speaker.
All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Hold on, Mr. Minister. Honorable members, I also recognize the presence of the following dignitaries. Mr. Salifo El Suma, Mr. Kamanda Boge, Sir Y. Senesi, AIG Musu Jones, Sir Kulum, ACP Bombe, ODI Kamara, ACP John F. Tombe, Lawrence L. Bassi, Sheikh B. Sise, Abu B. Kalon, Frank Kamara, Andrew Bob Johnny, Dr. Herbert, okay, I called him. Engineer Tidani Hawa Jabi, Managing Director, Sabako. Honorable Dr. Mark Mahmoud Kaloko. Honorable Dr. Mark Mahmoud Kaloko was a member of this parliament, and he was a very powerful debater. You are welcome. I recognize Mr. Bashirun Sharif, Ahmed S. Kanu, Ahmed S. Kanu is the district chairman, SLP of Kolimi. Susan M. Rogers, Deputy Commissioner General. Prince A.S.B.O. Sheikh Bangura, Almami Bangura, Chief Economist, Ministry of Finance. Alpha K. Bangura, Mohammed Bele, Deputy Director of Revenue and Tax Policy. Abu Bakar Conte, Assistant Accountant General. Ismon Alpha, Idrissa Salom, Dr. Alassane Mansari, Director of Fiscal Risk Management, Ministry of Finance. I also recognize the presence of Mr. Ambrose James, Development Secretary. Alfred Moy Jamiru, Lansana M. Dumbuya, Deputy Minister of Labour. Mariatu Brown, Dr. Susan Robert, Deputy Commissioner NACSA. David Fortune, Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs. Raymond Bob Carter, Executive Chairman. Jacob T. Senesi, Deputy Director of Budget. Dr. Ailara Madi, Mr. Lawrence S. Kolka, Deputy Accountant General, Raymond A. Koka, Deputy Accountant General. I recognize the presence of Mr. and Mrs. Moliba Bangura, of the Moliba Company, Honorable Ibrahim Sisi, Minister of Trade and Industry. I recognize the presence of Dr. Austin Dembi, the Minister of Health, Reverend Dr. Jonathan Titus Williams, Mami Miata Kalon, Raima Baluwa Kroma, DG National Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Mr. Edward D. Mansare, Safia L. Mwewa, Chairman SLP Kono, Asiatu Kamara, Principal Accountant, Office of the President. The opposition have not seen your chairman to be recognized. Joseph S. Tontin, Principal Assistant to the Secretary to the President. I want to recognize the presence of Mrs. Daphne Bangura, the wife of the Minister of Finance. It is because of her that we are reading the budget today. Thank you very much. Proceed, Mr. Minister. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker.
Mrs. Bangura, where are you?
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the government is providing 246 million yuans to Salwako for the implementation of various water projects, including the completion of water supply facilities in 6 district headquarter towns, construction of water supply systems in Bulk Municipality, Kennemal Gravity Flow Schemes, Makeni Lonsar Water Schemes, and also, as well as the installation of solar-powered boreholes and smart metering for water supply systems in Makeni, Kubo, and Kenya. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, development partners, including Saudi Fund, India Exim Bank, will disburse 35 million to Salwako for the implementation of 4 towns water supply projects in Mongo, Daru, Jala, and Matrujan, and drilling of 100 solar-powered boreholes in rural districts, in rural areas. Furthermore, AFDB, OFID, and Kuwaiti Fund will disburse 188 million to Guma Valley Water Company for the implementation of the Freetown Wash and Aquatic Environmental Revamping Projects. Government is providing 12 million additional, as contract contribution to this project. Sum of 29 million is provided for salaries of staff of the Ministry of Water Resources, Sanitation and its allied agencies. Youth, Employment, Youth and Sports. Speaker, honorable members, from the recurrent budget, government is allocating 49 million to employment, youth empowerment and sports services. Of this, 4.3 million to the Ministry of Employment, Labor and Social Security, 10 million Ministry of Youth Affairs, including 6.5 million to National Youth Commission, 3.4 to National Youth Service, 2.3 to the Ministry of Sports, 18 million to the National Sports Authority, transfer to the Council for the devolved Youth Sports Services will amount to 10 million. From the domestic capital budget, 41 million is allocated towards youth employment. Of this, 21.9 million is allocated to the Ministry of Youth Affairs to support the implementation of projects such as Youth in Fisheries, Youth in Car Wash, Empowering Women and Youth in Agribusiness, and the establishment of Youth Economic Empowerment Fund. The amounts also include 10 million to the National Youth Commission for various youth employment projects, including animal husbandry and youth empowerment and job creation projects. The National Youth Service has also received 8.5 million to implement the graduate service program. Government is providing 13 million as salaries for the Ministry of Youth Affairs, including National Youth Commission, 11 million for National Youth Service, 12 million to the Ministry of Sports, and 6 million for National Sports Authority. Public Administration and Governance. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating from the recurrent budget the sum of 5.1 million to the Ministry of Public Administration and Political Affairs, 6.4 million to Cabinet Secretariat, 4.6 million to Public Service Commission, 5.9 million to the Human Resource Management Office, 1.7 million to the Wages and Compensation Commission. Government is allocating 7 million from the domestic capital budget to complete the construction of the Public Service Commission headquarters. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating 1.8 from the recurrent budget to governance institutions, 1.8 billion to governance institutions. These include 4.9 million to Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, 13 million to Anti-Corruption Commission, 85 million to Parliament, 30 million to Judiciary, 19 million to the Audit Service Sierra Leone, 63 million to the Law Officers Department, of which 30 million is for constitutional review process, 10 million to the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, 6 million to Political Party Regulatory Commission, 8 million to the National Public Procurement Authority, 15 million to National Civil Registration Authority. Furthermore, government is allocating from the recurrent budget the sum of 274 million to the Ministry of Defense, 240 million to the Sierra Leone Police, 128.9 million to the Sierra Leone Correctional Services, 9 million to the National Fire Authority, 15 million to the Central Intelligence Security Agency, 14.5 million to the Office of National Security, 9.5 million to the National Disaster Management Agency, and 1.5 million to the Immigration Department. Government is also allocating the sum of 202 million on the domestic capital budget for the implementation of various projects for governance institutions, including the rehabilitation and construction of police stations, military barracks in various locations, foreign missions, audit service Sierra Leone building, support the government printing department. In addition, government is allocating 400 million to Statistics Sierra Leone for the conduct of the National Population and Household Census. Economic diversification tourism. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating from the recurring budget 12 million to the tourism sector. Of this, 7.6 is allocated to tourism, Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, including 2.3 for the promotion of local and international tourism, 2.4 million to the National Tourist Board, 1.3 million to the Monument and Ruins and Relics Commission, 750,000 to the National and Rail Museum. From the domestic capital budget, government is allocating 7.5 million to the Ministry of Tourism for Culture and Cultural Affairs, of which 2.5 million is to the National Tourist Board for the construction of 2 tourist information offices at Balamoya, Guinea Border, and Gendema, Liberia Border. The 5 million to the Monuments and Relics Commission for the development of Cultural Heritage Center. The World Bank will disburse 5.5 million under the Sierra Leone Economic Diversification Program to complete the construction of the tourism sites at Lester Peak, Takugama Sanctuary, Burea Beach, and government is allocating 1.5 million as counterpart contribution to this project. Trade and private sector development. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating from the recurrent budget 29.6 million to the Ministry of Trade and Industry, of which 17 million is to the support of various programs in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, 10 million to the National Investment Board, 2.5 million to the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agencies, SMEDA. Environmental and climate change. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, government is allocating from the recurrent budget at 2.5 million to climate change and environmental protection, of which 9.7 million is allocated to the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, 5.5 million to the National Protected Area Authority, 6 million to the Nuclear Safety Radiation Protection Authority, and 2 million to the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency. Transfer to local council for development, environmental and forestry protection activities will amount to 9.4 million euros. From the domestic capital budget, government is allocating 11 million, of which 6 million is for national tree planting, 5 million for the restoration of degraded mangrove forests. Budget deficits and financing in 2026. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the overall budget deficit excluding grant is projected at 8.2 billion, 4.4% of GDP. The budget deficit including grant is projected at 4.4 billion, which is 4.4 billion loans, which is 2.3% of GDP. The domestic primary balance is projected to further improve to a surplus of 1.6% of GDP in 2026, reflecting government's continued commitment to fiscal consolidation. Mr. Speaker, honorable member, the overall deficit, including grant, will be financed from both foreign and domestic sources. Foreign financing will amount to 602 million. Principal repayment on the external debt will amount to 1.9 billion. Net domestic financing of the deficit will amount to 3.8 billion, of which borrowing from the banking system is projected at 2.3 billion. Non-bank financing of the budget deficit will amount to 1.5 billion. Risk to the implementation of the 2026 budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, achievement of the objective of this budget could be undermined by several factors, including 1, prolonged trade uncertainties through retaliatory tariff actions will adversely impact export-driven growth in countries such as China, a key trading partner to Sierra Leone. This will weaken demand for our exports, especially iron ore, and lead to a decline in commodity exports revenues. 2, an escalation of ongoing and new conflicts may exacerbate supply chain disruptions, thus leading to an increase in the price of food and petroleum products, fueling inflationary pressures. This may increase government expenditure and undermine government's fiscal consolidation efforts. 3, declining growth in advanced economies could reduce tourism-related revenues, while a drop in remittance flows could reduce consumption-based revenues. State-owned enterprises are a major source of fiscal risk due to management and operational inefficiencies. Non-implementation of energy sector reforms will lead to a further increase in energy subsidies and divert resources away from other priority areas. Non-implementation and delays of reforms agreed with IMF under the Extended Credit Facility and Resilience and Sustainability Facility, as well as budget support operations negotiated with the World Bank, European Union, and the African Development Bank, could delay implementation, disbursement, and complicate budget implementation. 6, failure to mobilize the projected level of domestic revenues could lead to a reduction in critical spending, such as poverty-related spending, including the Feed Salon program, free quality school education, investment in infrastructure, and transfer to local council. In addition, if expenditures are not adjusted downwards, this will lead to increased borrowing and higher future debt service payments. 7, a deterioration in terms of trade through a fall in the price of our key exports, such as iron ore, will reduce mineral revenues. And the occurrence of natural disasters, such as mudslide, floods, collapse of buildings, as well as health emergencies, such as mpox outbreaks, and the surge in the abuse of narcotics, will lead to extra budgetary expenditures. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to mitigate the impact of this risk, government is resolved to foster the following. We'll implement prudent macroeconomic policies to build fiscal and external buffers to boost resilience against external shocks. We'll strengthen oversight of state-owned enterprises to improve their operational and financial performance. We'll ensure effective monitoring and reporting of implementation of reforms agreed with our development partners. We'll implement the medium-term revenue strategies and revenue measures outlined in this budget and undertake fiscal adjustments when necessary. And finally, we'll trigger the contingency fund votes in the budget in the event of natural disasters and health emergencies. Conclusion. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as I conclude the presentation of this budget, I want to convey a key message that service delivery is the bridge between policy and people's everyday lives. Therefore, this budget prioritizes initiatives that will directly and positively impact the lives of our people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the macroeconomic situation is improving, and with the investment in agriculture, human capital development, and infrastructure, the prospects for inclusive growth and job creation are evident. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, however, we should not lose sight of the fact that the global economy is grappling with geopolitical tensions. The trade policy uncertainties, the high debt levels, the rising borrowing costs, and declining official development assistance. These challenges have contributed to weak global growth and volatile commodity prices with implications for the economies of low-income countries. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the 2026 budget therefore seeks to lay the foundation for the journey towards economic sovereignty, to reduce our dependence on foreign aid. It is time for us to act decisively by moving forward with the policies, strategies, and reforms and programs presented in this budget. In particular, we must look internally to generate the resources required to finance our development priorities. The revenue measures outlined in this budget are designed to achieve these aspirations, while supporting businesses and protecting incomes of our poor and vulnerable households. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to implore all Sierra Leoneans to demonstrate their patriotism by fulfilling their responsibilities of supporting the fiscal plan of government. I would also like to crave the indulgence of this noble House to adopt the usual bipartisan approach and support the implementation of the fiscal proposals so that Sierra Leone government will emerge as a prosperous, resilient, and competitive nation. The Speaker, honorable members, on its part, government will take all necessary actions to spend the resources efficiently, effectively on our key priorities, the big five game changers, and enable us to uplift the welfare of our people. Mr. Speaker, let me at this point express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio, for his visionary leadership and commitment to economic reforms. I also applaud His Excellency for being a global champion for human capital development and the architect of unlocking Sierra Leone agricultural potential through the Feed Salmon program. I also want to extend gratitude to Honorable Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julia Jallow for his guidance in shaping the focus of the budget. As a ministry, we always look forward to his expertise and experience shared during annual budget policy hearings. To the Chief Minister and other Cabinet colleagues, I am truly grateful for your constant collaboration and dedication in executing government policies and programs. Speaker, honorable members, my deputies have been a strong pillar of support in managing the economy as we strive to improve the lives of citizens. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Financial Secretary, the Principal Deputy Financial Secretary, the Chief Economist of Sierra Leone, the Senior Deputy Financial Secretary, the Accountant General, the Director of Budget, all other directors in the Ministry of Finance, staff of the Ministry of Finance, for their hard work, expertise, and commitment to formulation of sound economic, fiscal, and public financial management policies and reforms. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I specifically want to thank the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, the Development Secretary, and the staff of the Ministry for their collaboration in developing a comprehensive public investment program and for the continuous monitoring and implementation of the government medium-term national development plan. All other MDAs are acknowledged for their valuable contribution in driving the development agenda of the government. The governor and deputy governors, management and staff of the Bank of Sierra Leone deserve appreciation for the effective coordination of fiscal and monetary policy, which is contributing to the stability of our economy. The Commissioner General, Management and Staff of the National Revenue Authority are also appreciated for their tireless efforts in mobilizing the domestic resources to finance our country's programs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we value the bipartisan approach of this noble House in scrutinizing and approving the budget, thus ensuring transparency and accountability in the management of public finances. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we thank all development partners for their technical and financial support to our development efforts, especially the UN family, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the European Union, the UKFCDO, JICA, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, the African Union, ECOWAS, EBIT, ISDB, Islamic Development Bank, IFAD, OFID, OPEC Fund, and BADIA. In addition, the governments and people of the United States of America, United Kingdom, China, Germany, Japan, Nigeria, India, Ireland, Turkey, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, Ireland, Iceland, Morocco, among others, are also appreciated for their continued support to this nation. My profound gratitude goes to all international and national non-governmental organizations for their complementary support to all the sectors of the economy. Speaker, honorable members, our drive to promote transparency and accountability cannot be achieved without the active participation of our non-state actors, including the Budget Advocacy Network, District Budget Oversight Committees, civil society organizations, and members of the electronic and print media. We appreciate the work you do in the public financial management space. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I extend my thanks to the Sierra Leone Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture for the productive dialogue on the budget proposals and other policy measures affecting the private sector. The government printer and team, they deserve special recognition for the printing of the budget and its annexes, as well as other fiscal documents and legislation on time. I therefore commend this budget to this noble House. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I move that the bill entitled the Appropriation Act 2026 be read the first time and the budget speech be laid before the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. You thanked everybody. You thanked all, even up to NGOs, CSOs, and so on. Why did not hear you thank the Parliament? You have been extremely supportive. You passed all your policies here.
He thanked us, sir.
Did he?
Yes, he sent for the bipartisan approach. Mr. Speaker, we have one serious problem.
Yes.
Just because the minister said the life expectancy has increased from 30 to 60 years, we have a pressure patient here who has stopped taking
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister of Finance. Honorable members, the question is that the bill entitled the Appropriation Act 2026 be read the first time. All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill entitled the Appropriation Act 2026 being an act to authorize expenditure from the Consolidated Fund for the Services of Sierra Leone for the year 2026 and for other related matters has been read the first time.
Honorable members, yes, please do.
It's sweet what it means. You don't say you can't make a motion of that. When you come here, I'm going to put the very, very good.
Now it is here.
Mr. Minister, you are released. Okay, hold on a little. Okay. Proceed. Announcements.
Announcement. Honorable members are kindly invited to attend the 7th anniversary of the Answer for Our Girls campaign and the launch of Building Resilience campaign for 2025-2027 in Sierra Leone. The march will take place on Saturday, 13th December 2025, commencing at 10:30 a.m. with a procession from Bottom Mango to the Oki Pitch, Wilberforce. Members are encouraged to attend and on time. Signed, MLD Rogers, JP, Director of Legislative Service.
We look for the news with the around. Log into Liberty TV online. Positively we bring the change. They get the masses involved. Staffs them everywhere, everywhere. We climb the mountain just to get the news. We go down the slums to get the views. Hi, yeah, hey. Voices come. Hi, yeah, hey. Credibility, now we ability. News, give you the views, the tell where you want them. Government issues, democracy, now we not the answer.